What is good, YouTube? Warstu here with another video. If you are new, please subscribe as that helps me out. So this video will be on, will Flashpoint save the Arrow? So the season finale of season 2 of The Flash ended with Barry Allen running back in time, saving his mum and potentially killing the Reverse Flash. So basically breaking the speed force barrier to go back in time to do that. So essentially he's already changed the timeline by this happening, and as we know from The Flash season 2, when he ran back in time to get help from an earlier version of Harrison Wells, it essentially made the Pied Piper good, as he worked for Star Labs or Central City, I believe. So that small change there did make a big change. So we do know that in theory the Flash will have some massive differences, at least to start off with. But how will this affect the other programs on the CW? Supergirl, it's not going to affect Supergirl, as they've just announced that Superman will be being casted for that program. So that tells you they're going to be sticking with the Kryptonian storylines, and they're on Earth 3. So yeah, the kind of Supergirl Arrow Legend Tomorrow crossover, I don't think it's going to have anything to do with Flashpoint, although it would be pretty cool if it did. Legends of Tomorrow, they're doing the Justice Society, so they're not really going to mess that up. And also Legends of Tomorrow, they're not in the current day, they're all over the place in the timeline, so it's not going to affect that. So realistically, the only programs it's 100% going to affect will be The Flash and potentially the Arrow. So as we know, Arrow season 5 was pretty bad. The reviews were awful, and I agree with them. So there were some good episodes, but mainly it was bad. But it wasn't just bad because of olicity, like everyone's saying. It was just all over the place. I mean, who's in the grave? I mean, if you actually caught the actual grave scene, it was meant to be Oliver's son who was in the grave. So Mark Guggenheim, they didn't even know who was going to be in the grave all the way through the scene until a few episodes before, when it actually happened. And obviously it was Laurel Lance, aka Black Canary, who died. So they were running the whole season without knowing who was actually in the grave, which tells me something massively went wrong. I know Mark Guggenheim was mainly working with Legends of Tomorrow, but something massively went wrong in that season. To kill off the Black Canary, someone so iconic to the Green Arrow, it was just mental. So potentially Flashpoint could change some things. Seen some videos on people saying, oh, the Flashpoint can change the Black Canary being dead and Felicity should die. I think that's just wrong. I mean, she just gets too much attention with the Felicity role. So I don't think, if they killed either of the characters off, it was wrong. They didn't need to kill anybody off in that season, it was just absolute tribe. So yeah, I mean, essentially Flashpoint could wipe out everything that happened on season 5. But I can't see the Black Canary coming back, because logically, set for Flashpoint, and they'd have to stay in that current timeline, I guess, for it to stay. There's no logical way that the Black Canary can come back unless they use Diana Lance, aka the Black Siren. She could potentially be on the crossover possibly, and kind of meet Ollie and meet Sarah, or potentially in the Flashpoint it could be Sarah Lance that died instead of Laurel Lance. So potentially there's a lot of things that could change, but essentially I hope Flashpoint does get rid of olicity, as they don't have no chemistry together. They don't seem to gel. They don't seem to be like a real kind of couple. It looks awkward. I mean, if you want a good couple, go to the Supergirl crossover and Barry crossover. Although I don't want them to get together, you'll see their kind of chemistry is much better. And also that was artwork from the new Green Arrow Rebirth, and this is artwork from the first edition of Rebirth, Wally West and The Flash. But that's just a side note. So that's effectively how I think the kind of Flashpoint will affect the Arrow. Hopefully it will affect the Arrow, but we're going to know from the first episode if it's affected Arrow, as it's pretty much going to have to start like that. Or potentially the changes in Arrow will happen once Barry Allen realises that Nora Allen needs to be dead, and once Barry goes back to the current time, potentially there'll be some small changes there, kind of similar to like the Pied Piper going from being bad to good. I mean, we don't actually know much of the backstory from like Diana Lance, like Dark Siren. Was she actually bad, or was it all Zoom? So I really hope within one of the CW verse shows they have Diana, like dark the Black Siren back in it, as that would be pretty cool. So please like have a discussion down below. Let me know what you think is going to happen to Arrowverse. Do you think it will affect Legends Tomorrow or Supergirl? Personally, I've told you my views, and personally, I don't think it will. I don't really think it's going to affect the Arrowverse. I can't see the Black Canary being alive as much as I want Kate Cassidy back in the program. I think she could be in some small roles, potentially flashbacks or kind of something like that, or as the Black Siren. Potentially she could turn good, we don't know. So that's just my thoughts on the matter, and that's all I've got to say. Please like, subscribe and comment down below, and also if you haven't checked out the Green Arrow Rebirth edition, it starts off awesome. They've kind of rebooted all the books, the Rebirth. So the Black Canary is in the first episode, which is pretty cool. It's kind of cool because they don't know each other, but they kind of think they do. So it's like they've got rid of a lot of stuff, but they haven't at the same time. So that was pretty cool, and I'm looking forward to the Flash one coming out. That should be pretty cool, as the first episode of Rebirth was pretty cool. It was mainly Wally West and Flash, so I'm not going to ruin it for you, but if anyone wants me to do a video on that, I will do. So that's just my views on Flashpoint and how it's going to affect the Arrowverse. But essentially, they should potentially make the next season epic. As Stephen Amell said at one of the experts expos, that this season, the new season is going to be closer to season 2, the kind of season 1 Deathstroke Dark Archer storyline. So hopefully get away from this kind of magical tripe, as that didn't really work. So this is just my views on how will Flashpoint affect Arrow season 5. Anyway, guys, peace.